Okay, welcome back. So we are asked to find the derivative of the exponential functions. So we have these two exponential functions. So, but there are some things you need to take note of. You can see the first question, it has e, right? It has e power 5x minus 3. However, when we now come here, this has 2. So sometimes we get confused about it. So we are going to solve it. And when you look at this, we have two functions. So we have the first function e, and we also have the second function, which is this linear function. The same thing here, we have the first function, which is 2. Then we also have what? This quadratic function. So if you see questions like this, you have to apply your chain rule. So the first thing we need to do is first, we said y equals e power u. Okay? Why do we do this? Because of chain rule. So let me just write the rule here. So chain rule says that your dy over dx equals dy over du multiplied by du over dx. Okay? So this is the chain rule here. And we are using that because we have two or more functions. So what we are now going to do here is we now say let u be equals to 5x minus 3. All right. So we can now say the y du will now be this. Okay. So we are going to find the differential of this function. It's still going to give us du. Okay. Because if you remember, if you have y equals e power x, so if you differentiate this, you are still going to get e power x. Okay. The same thing here. So we also find the derivative of du in respect to x, the x, and this will give us this is going to give us 5. Okay, because if you remember, if you watch our previous video, you see how we differentiate. You know that since we have 5x, let me just put it here so you understand how it happens. The y, no, we have the u, we have the u, the x will now be equals to 5x minus 1. Okay, then 1 minus 1. So the u, the x will now be 5 because 1 minus 1 is 0. So x power 0 is 1. So 1 times 5 is 5. So that is how we got this 5. Now, for you to now, I'll clean this. For you to now be able to now apply your chain rule, you now say the y, the x will now be this. E power u multiplied by 5. And the y, the x will now be 5e. And remember that u is what? 5x minus 3. And that is how to find the differential of this. So let's talk about this question. The second question, I'll use this. So here you have y equals 2u, okay? Just like the same way we did it here. However, we now say u equals 3x squared minus 4. So let's find their derivatives. So the derivative of the y, the u, will now be 2u ln 2. Okay? Because if you remember, if you have y equals 2x, okay? So what this will now be is y, the x equals 2x, 2 power x ln x. So the same thing, you also apply it here. Okay? So that is how to differentiate it. Please, this is u, not 4. So we now differentiate the u, the x. The u, the x will give us 2 times 3 is going to give you 6x. So that is what it's going to give you. So we now apply our chain rule. We now say the y, the x equals, you now have 6x multiplied by 2u power u, then ln 2. So let's simplify this. The y, the x will now be 6x ln 2 multiplied by 2. Our u is what? 3x squared minus 4. And that is the derivative of this equation.